The Sweet Revenge of the Stolen Seat. I, 27 female, embarked on a lengthy train journey from Glasgow to London for a work conference, which, coincidentally, was my first one. The day was scorching hot, and I was dragging around a cumbersome suitcase that made me feel like I was experiencing early menopause. Nevertheless, I had pre-booked a cozy window seat in an air-conditioned carriage. It had a table for my snacks and a nearby socket for my laptop. A perfect setup. As I boarded the train, it was already crowded, and I joined the scramble to get on board. After stowing away my suitcase, I began to make my way through the carriage. I had my ticket in hand, and I couldn't help but notice a man occupying my designated seat. Being Scottish, I tend to be straightforward but friendly in such situations. I approached him and asked, "Are you wanting the window seat?" The man glanced up and responded, "Oh, did you book this seat?" There was a reservation symbol right next to the seat number, but I assumed he might have missed it. I replied, "Yes, that's my seat." He acknowledged, "Oh, right. My seat is just over there. I booked a window seat, but as you can see, there's no window." He gestured to his seat, which indeed had no window and no spacious table in the middle. While he made a valid point about his preference for a window seat, I didn't resemble a train staff member. I was a sweaty traveler simply seeking the comfortable spot I had booked for this long journey. I replied, "Yeah, I see that." He continued, "I really like to see out the window on a journey, so I chose this seat instead." I paused for a moment, deciding not to make a fuss. I was content to let him have the window seat. I had already planned my entertainment for the journey, and it didn't involve gazing out the window. I said, "Okay, no problem. I'll just sit here." He responded with a curt, "Okay. No please or thank you. Just, okay, no problem." By this point, I just wanted to sit, and I didn't give it much thought. It was just a seat. I took my seat right next to him, and he seemed annoyed. His bag was occupying the table, so when I set up my laptop, it hung precariously off the edge. He noticed but made no effort to accommodate. I shrugged it off, still in a decent mood, and made it work. About an hour and a half into the journey, I sneezed twice. He looked at me with obvious disgust. Typically, I would ignore someone looking at me that way, but I decided to engage in conversation to lighten the mood. I said, "That'll probably happen a lot. My allergies are acting up today." He replied, "Okay, as long as it's not a cold, you can sit there." I reassured him, "It's not a cold." He added, "Yes, and as long as it isn't, you can sit there. I'd rather not get sick." What a cheeky fellow. He was sitting in my pre-booked seat and telling me he was allowing me to sit next to him. Now I was getting annoyed. A few minutes later, the train driver made an announcement that they would have to turn off the air conditioning for the remainder of the journey due to technical issues. By that point, I had already cooled down, so it didn't bother me much. I noticed a few passengers behind me getting up and moving their belongings as the air conditioning started to leak onto their things. Suddenly, I realized that the leak was headed straight for us. He hadn't noticed it yet. The poor fellow. I turned to him and said, "If you want to sit here, I'll go sit at your seat. 26B, right?" He hesitated before finally responding, "Oh yeah, that's it. Are you sure?" Now he was asking if I was sure about switching seats. I nodded, smiled, and moved to his seat, which turned out to be a cozy two-seater with a pull-out table, sockets, and a partial window view. I didn't mind. I was living my best life, away from that man. 20 minutes later, enjoying my snacks and the drama on my show, I heard commotion behind me. I turned to see him wiping down the table that would have been mine, complaining to other passengers, and rushing to the bathroom for toilet paper to protect his book from the relentless leak. He had to repeat this process every time the train stopped, as the motion would create a mini waterfall onto his table. He couldn't even change seats because the train was now fully occupied, including the seat next to me. It was a delightful sight. Finally, as we arrived in London, I stepped off the train, sweat-free, having watched 3 more episodes of Below Deck, consumed my snacks, and remained dry from the air conditioning's unexpected outpouring. He disembarked, looking like an angry, soaking wet rat. Ha ha,